What's up, guys? It is Dustin here. This is the Seeing Red MMA podcast coming red hot off of UFC 288 Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo. We'll get right into the results here in a sec here, but pretty good card, I would say. I mean, the definitely had some finishes earlier on the prelims there. Main card definitely kind of held up to in the fights that I expected to hold up to. Some of the outcomes I did not expect as well too, but we'll kind of dive right into it. Aljamain Sterling retains his belt after split decisioning Henry Cejudo in the main event here. Now, I could see you giving the fight for Henry Cejudo for the ground control that he had there, but I could see you giving the fight for Sterling for the striking that he had on the feet as well too. But regardless of that, your new champion, or basically your champion still, is Aljamain Sterling, and he has retained the belt after beating Henry Cejudo after that long layoff. Now, the one thing I do want to make apparent, though, is that it was not the fight I was really expecting there. I mean, I personally had the fight, when I was scoring it, I had 1, 3, and 5 for Sterling. Now, the fifth round could be questionable there, but I thought that Cejudo did kind of slow down. He did kind of get gassed there. I mean, after a 3-year layoff, his cardio, could be questionable, which it kind of was going into that end last round there. But regardless of that, I do think the judges did get it right. Now, was it the performance that we're used to from Cejudo? No. Was it the performance we're used to from Sterling? No. But is that due to because it was just a stylistic matchup there? You have two very high-level wrestlers, one being very good at taking the back, the other one good at just taking you down and holding you in a certain position there. I think the main story of this fight was with Cejudo, his wrestling is a lot different than Sterling's there. My buddy mentioned this earlier. That Olympic style of wrestling, when you snatch someone down and you get that grip on them, whether if that's just when they're in the turtle position, you got their head in their arm and you're just clamping them on there trying to hold them in position, to me it felt like Cejudo was able to get that pretty easy, but then it was tough for him to actually move from that position to taking the back or to doing anything else. I think Sterling had a problem defending the initial takedown there, or the initial sprawl when his takedown. So let's say Sterling goes for the single leg, whatever he's known for, and then Cejudo sprawls on it and then snatches up that grip over the head and the arm and kind of holds him there. I could see why it was tough there, because Cejudo is just known for that position. It's something he's drilled time and time and time again, being an Olympic wrestler and being in the UFC at such a high level, and being known that's what he's good for. Oh, I don't know if that made bad sound, but I just hit my mic. But regardless of that, it was a decent fight to kind of see where both of these guys are at, but I do think they did get the right decision. I think Sterling did win. It was very, very close. I'll hear any argument where Cejudo did win. I don't necessarily disagree. Just from watching it just about 10 minutes ago is when it ended, I could see why the judges gave it to Sterling. But, yeah, Sterling he's the most winningest bantamweight champion now. He's defended that belt how many times? 3 times now. He's got a defense over Jan. He's got a defense over TJ, and now he's got a defense over Triple C. So, it's a pretty good resume to have, especially when you have former champions as all of your defenses there. Whether if they're inside of their prime or not, that's a different discussion, but the fact is they all had belts, and he defended his belt against all 3 of them. But the matchup that I'm really interested in now is that Sugar Sean got in the cage after the fight was over there, and I have some people texting me, asking me, it's like, man, this is kind of weird, like, they're not liking Sean for doing what he did, getting in the cage, getting in Aljo's face and everything like that. Marab taking Sean's jacket and putting it on and getting on top of the cage as well, too. It was all theatrics. It's entertainment. They've done it before, just maybe not to this level. Brock Lesnar got in the cage with Cormier, shoved him, but with this level there, it was kind of silly watching it. It was funny, though, in my opinion. I enjoyed watching it. It's entertainment. At the very end of the day, the UFC is an entertainment business, and they did entertain with that last little piece there. Now, if Sugar is getting the next title shot, which I think he definitely is and should be, I don't think he's going to have much for Sterling on the feet. I mean, maybe that first couple rounds he might be able to catch him with something there, but I mean, after watching that kind of grappling, I mean, it's a fight I'm looking forward to. Do I think it's going to be competitive? No. Am I going to bet heavy on Sterling to either get the submission or decision? 100%. I think that's definitely the way to go in this scenario here. But I feel for Cejudo, though, man. I mean, 3 years off, being Triple C. Take all the cringe out of it if you like him or not, just as far as his resume goes. I mean, the guy's been fighting forever. I mean, he's been in the UFC for a long, long time. And for him to lose a very, very close split decision after a 3-year layoff, when arguably people thought you could have won that fight, if I was him, I'd be screaming for a rematch. But does it warrant a rematch because of his long layoff? Maybe not. Does he come back better in the rematch if there is one down the road after maybe Sugar Sean fights Sterling there? Probably, because I think the rust had something to do with it, especially in those later rounds. The cardio definitely took a dive. And, I mean, with a guy like Sterling there, you got to mind your P's and Q's during the whole entire fight. Start from first bell to last bell, because as we saw, the more, I would say, I'm losing words right now. I had a couple of brews, so I might be losing a little bit. But the more active fighter, better said, makes sense that his cardio is going to be a lot better as well, too. So, I mean, maybe if Cejudo gets another training camp under him, yeah, I could see him probably getting a unanimous decision. I don't think he's able to finish Aljamain. I think we showed that Aljamain is able to survive these kind of specific positions where he is in a head and arm, and he is kind of like exposing to his neck. Because there was a couple of times where Cejudo tried reaching for that guillotine position there, just from on top in that turtle position, and Aljamain was smartly fighting the hands, getting it off his dome, making it to where it's just a wizard. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a interesting fight because of the way it ended there, but I just feel for Cejudo. But what I really want to talk about is in those later rounds, the odds that Vegas was showing, because they had Sterling as like a minus 550 in the fourth round, which is a round that I thought Cejudo was winning. That kind of confused me a lot. I was watching on TV and I was just like, what are these odds? Why is it such a discrepancy, a heavy discrepancy? It's not like minus 110 like it shows right here just at the end of the fight, minus 110, so basically even fight for both of them. But in the fourth round specifically, a minus 550 in favor of Sterling, making him the favorite. I mean, that's just such a discrepancy there. I didn't really understand that. I think Vegas, I don't know what's going on. I think it was just such a weird fight that it's really hard to say what went wrong or right in that fight. I think it was just kind of one of those weird fights where maybe both of them had an off night and it kind of counteracted each other, or their styles just counteracted each other, like I said. But I digress. Sterling is still your bantamweight champion there, and he will be fighting Sugar Sean probably, from what I heard on the TV, probably September is what I'm assuming there. Sign the contract, Sugar. I really want to see that. But in your co-main event, definitely surprised me. Belal Muhammad gets a 5-round unanimous decision over Gilbert Burns. 50-45 in my opinion there. I don't remember if that was the official scorecard, but I mean, Belal just from bell to bell, not even beating him up, just like outpointing him and like just outfighting him, really. I mean, Burns, I mean, he has that nuclear option always, but just the way Belal was switching stances, throwing that body kick, and I mean, anybody, including myself, I want to say that as well too, who thought that Belal had a compromised leg with that swollen ankle, we were very wrong, because he was throwing the left body kick all night, which is the foot that was injured from what all the pictures we saw on Twitter and whatnot, from when he's doing his pre-fight pictures, when he's doing for the promo, basically, or for the tail of the tape. But yeah, I mean, I just feel for Gilbert because he's old. I don't think he's going to be able to get another run for the belt here. I mean, just take money fights at this point. But Belal, man, that's a tough fight for whoever beats Colby or whoever wins versus Colby versus Leon there. I mean, I'm not a big Belal fan. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to change my mind on that. I can respect him as a fighter. I mean, as far as his performances, he has one finish over Sean Brady, and the rest are just decision. I mean, he's hungry, man, and I can respect that there. I mean, to go out there and 5-round decision, Gilbert Burns, a guy we thought was going to have the advantage for fighting so much recent compared to Bilal, who hasn't fought since October over Sean Brady there, and had that pretty gnarly training camp, a short training camp from back in April when the Masvidal fight was over against Burns till now. That's like less than, I think it was maybe a little bit over 3 weeks away. I mean, a 3-week training camp is not ideal in any circumstances against a top guy like Gilbert Burns. And to go out there and have a performance like he did it's very impressive. It's very, very impressive. I don't know how his next fight ends up. I mean, if he gets a guy against Colby and is able to defend those kind of shots there and evade kind of the peppering shots that Colby is able to land, I mean, I could see Bilal winning that one. If he's able to kind of push Leon Edwards backwards and kind of just keep him guessing with the stance switches, keep him guessing on the takedowns as well too, I can see him winning that one as well. But it's just really hard to say without seeing Leon and Colby fight and seeing how both of they look in their performance. But might be recency bias, but it's hard to deny Bilal right now as much as I want to. Unfortunately, nothing against him personally. I just not a fan of him, but after this performance, I might have to eat my words here because he might be able to do it, guys. He might be able to get that belt. But something I did not expect to happen, which actually ruined my parlay. Thank you, Yan Zhaozhan. If that's how you pronounce it. I have no idea if that's how you pronounce it or not, but excuse me. We rarely see this happen. Jessica Andrade gets knocked out in the first round by Yan. And my buddy called it. Once you started seeing those straight punches beating Jessica Andrade's looping punches to the basically beating him there. Hold on. Fucking helicopter. God damn it. But Andrade, I mean, she just kind of started going forward, and Yan definitely had the better game plan. Just throw him right down the middle. Even though it was a looping shot that caught her, it was backing up over the top of the shoulder, over one of Andrade's just ferocious left hooks, and was able to put her down a little bit early, you could argue. Don't know if much was going to change after that, because Andrade went straight down. Kind of like an earlier fight that we'll talk about, Dober versus Frivola. But, hey, kudos to you. I mean, that's title shot worthy in my opinion, especially at strawweight. Wei Li, if she fights like Rose or something like that, or China versus China. I have no idea. Either way, congrats to her. It's a big win. Oh, man. Movsar Evelev wins unanimous decision over Diego Lopez. Man, Diego came to play, man. Short notice. I heard he's getting his win and show money, even though he did lose the unanimous decision there. But the guy's good. I mean, he came to play. I mean, especially that knee bar in the last minute or the last round there in like the last couple seconds. Any longer, that could have been bad. That could have been real bad for Movsar. So I'm glad the round ended just for Movsar's health. But at the same time, though, I mean, Diego Lopez, expect him to be a problem in that division there, because to go against a guy like Movsar, pretty much, I mean, you lose the fight unanimously, but, I mean, you didn't get dog walk like we all thought was going to happen there. So hats off to him, man. I mean, he definitely performed better than I thought he was going to. And, I mean, hopefully we see him again. Just get a different haircut, because that's one of the worst haircuts I've ever seen. Yeah, the emo mullet might be the new mythical fighter if he keeps it and starts winning. But good win for Evelev there. Charles Jourdain had one of the weirdest fights against Kron Gracie. Kron Gracie needs to just stop fighting MMA. I mean, he does not have the skill set to hang with even the guys like Jourdain. Not saying there's anything wrong with Jourdain. I mean, he's a great fighter there. He's not even ranked. And to have the last name like Gracie and go out there and just be pulling guard the entire time and just taking body shots and uppercuts and just walking forward, no defense, just your defense is eating punches. Either you got to go back to the drawing board and they got to give you like a bottom tier featherweight in order to get your confidence back up. But yeah, that was dare I say, a horrible performance by Kron Gracie there. I was not impressed by him whatsoever. And I am very impressed with Charles Jourdain because he kept his composure there, especially in those positions where Kron pulled guard. But, yeah, Kron Gracie, I mean, maybe that 4-year layoff wasn't long enough because that was a horrible performance on your part. No, I mean, nothing personal, just looking at it. Horrible performance. But I will tell you who did not have a horrible performance was Matt Frivola. Holy shit, guys. Holy shit. He chin-checked Giga Chad. Drew Dober got the first round knockout with about a minute left in the round there. Yeah. Frivola was kind of throwing wild there at the beginning, and I thought Dober was just waiting to kind of walk him down, find his opening there, but he should have zigged. He zigged when he should have zagged, that's for sure, because Frivola did not come to fuck around. He came there to fight, and it's great to see Frivola get a win like that, especially over a guy who's been known to take punishment and just dish it right back out tenfold and get knockout wins left and right, especially like the Bobby Green fight. I mean, man, Frivola, that was nasty there. Great win for him. Happy for him. If you're watching this, Matt, and I know that you are, shout out to you. And also, his shout out against Paddy Pimblett. Ooh-wee! I don't like Paddy, and I think he does very bad things to Paddy. And I hope he does, because I think Paddy is a bit of a dickhead. For lack of a better term, I think he's a dickhead. So, nice to see Frivola get a big win like Dober, who was, I believe, supposed to be matched up with Paddy somewhat recently. So, that'd be nice to see Frivola get that big win over Dober and then parlay it into a fight with Paddy, because you beat Paddy Pimblett, we're going to Sizzler. Kenny Nzechukwu. Hold on. I am so sorry. My throat is messed up right now. But Kennedy Nzechukwu gets the second round. Man, he John Jones Machida him. He got him in that choke, and he just put him to sleep and dropped him face first on the floor. It sucks to see Devin Clark go out like that, but it was a good fight for while it lasted. I mean, Kennedy, when he had him in the clinch, just those elbows up against the head, up in the clinch there against the fence, those were vicious. But then Devin Clark hit him with that straight right and got him on Queer Street as well, too. But that second round began, and, man, when he snatched up that choke, he did not let go of it until Clark was asleep. I mean, John Jones Machida is the best and only way to describe it at this point. Chaos Williams wins a split decision against Rolando Bedoya. I'm so sorry, guys. But Bedoya did not come to fuck around either. I mean, he was in that fight the whole time. I mean, his counter-shotting, his composure as well, too, how calm he was during that fight. I was extremely impressed with Bedoya there. I thought if he maybe put the pace on a little bit and just kind of peppered that jab a little bit more and waited for Chaos to load up, because, I mean, like Joe said it best, Chaos was just, and then throwing. Like, it was very telegraphed there, and it was easy for Bedoya to kind of get those jabs and just that. He has like that weird, it's almost a straight right, but it's like comes from the shoulder and goes down. So it has a little bit, I don't know, but it's a beautiful punch he has too. And I mean, he was talking shit the whole time. Every time Williams would throw something, he would just be like, do the matador. So that was cool. I mean, I will see more of Bedoya for sure, but it was a good showcase fight against a guy like Chaos Williams, who's known for sleeping guys. Nice to see that this guy was able to hold his own and get the dub. But, yeah, Jandiroba got a unanimous decision over Marina Rodriguez as well, too. And dare I say, there was a skill differential between them on the ground. Because once Jandiroba had her on the ground, it was not good. I mean, it was bad. Just had her on the ground and did whatever she wanted to her. Able to defend the submissions to play devil's advocate for Rodriguez there, but as far as just defending to stay on the feet, did not go in her favor there. So, yeah, I think Rodriguez definitely has to go back to the playing board and or the game planning board and figure out how to stop that. Because, I mean, Jandiroba, she's good, but, I mean, number 9... And, I mean, your last fight before that, you got knocked out by Lemos there. So, I mean, you lost via smothering and you lost via KO. So, you got to work on something, because I was a fan of Rodriguez. I like her boxing. She's good. New and improved Parker Porter got a first-round TKO over Braxton Smith there. Braxton Smith, I saw this tweet and I thought it was very funny. He has the gas tank of a bicycle. It was 90 seconds of just go and then dead. Just stopped. Dead in the water. Parker Porter jumped all over him, got the finish on the ground. Braxton didn't even try defending it, other than just holding his hands up, trying to not absorb shots there. So it's not much the ref could do. I mean, if that's your defense, it's just eating shots. I mean, what do you expect the ref to do? I mean, they're going to stop the fight there. Good win for Porter. Hopefully he gets the John Jones fight next. Now, this is my performance of the night right here. The second early prelim of the fight, or the second fight of the night, better said. Phil Hawes versus Ikram Aliskerov. Man, almost on cue, while they were talking about how Phil Hawes has been spending time in Thailand and comparing him to Khalil Roundtree and how Khalil looked when he came back and was just destroying people's legs with leg kicks and stomps and whatnot. Ikram goes out there and lands probably one of the prettiest 1-2 knockouts I have ever seen. It was so beautiful. It was so crispy. It was so fast and accurate. That dude, he is a problem, because he took some shots from Phil Hawes as well. For a second there, I thought, oh shit, Phil Hawes is striking. This new Muay Thai thing that you're getting out of Thailand, this might be your jam, man. This might have been what we're missing, but can't play games in there. Not to say that he was playing games, but man, he ate a big shot. He made a big 1-2, and it was right on the button and slumped right over, and it was a rough one. It was definitely a rough fight. I mean, Aliskerov, I'd like to see him fight Bo Nickel. I mean, he called out Bo Nickel. I don't know if Bo Nickel's ready for that. I mean, unless he can get him on the ground, which we didn't really see much of his wrestling, but for Dagestan Russia, he's got to have some sort of grappling background. And Joseph Holmes yet lost again against Claudio Ribeiro in the second round, TKO. Yeah, I think the Joseph Holmes experience is over. Hasn't won a fight in a while. Just to see here, fight history. Yeah, so his last fight lost to Park. Fight before that got a submission over Amadovsky. Fight before that lost unanimous decision to Jamie Pickett. So he's basically 1 out of 3 in his last 4. Yikes. Don't expect to see Joseph Holmes in the UFC for much longer. I maybe give him one more fight, and if he loses that, to the streets with you. But yeah, that's your UFC 288 right there. Aljamain Sterling retains his belt over a controversial split decision over the returning Henry Cejudo. Bilal Muhammad is your next title contender once Leon and Colby settle their fight here, probably later this year as well too. Jessica Andrade gets knocked the fuck out. Diego Lopez has the worst hair, but he's come to play. Kron Gracie absolutely sucks. But Matt Frevola, though. Matt Frevola, if you're watching this, and I know that you are, congratulations, sir, because nobody has chin-checked Drew Dober. And I would say Aliskerov and Frevola and Jan. Those are your performances of the night for sure. Those are definitely your performances of the night. Those three knockouts right there. 50 G's, baby. But yeah, that's your card here. UFC 288 in the books. Now, if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at SeeingRedMMA. But other than that, you have yourself a great rest of your day. Till next time, see ya.